Honda's CEO just dropped a bombshell that could change everything for Harley-Davidson. This new engine isn't just a game changer, it's a revolution. If you're a rider or even thinking about buying a bike, you'll want to see this. Stick around until the end. What's coming next could leave Harley in the dust. The shockwave. Honda's CEO did not walk onto that stage with a new motorcycle. He walked on with a declaration of war. The room expected a routine update, another predictable roadmap for electric scooters or incremental efficiency tweaks. Instead, Toshihiro Mibe dropped a revelation that detonated across the motorcycle world. Honda had built a fuel cell engine compact enough for mass-market bikes, powerful enough to rival combustion twins, and scalable enough to define the next generation of mobility. It was not hype, not a concept sketch. It was a blueprint for the future, signed, sealed, and production-ready. For a century, Harley-Davidson's thunderous V-twin soundtrack has doubled as its shield. That roar symbolized rebellion, loyalty, and American muscle. But in an instant, Honda reframed the battlefield. Sound was no longer strength, silence was. Nostalgia was no longer the currency, innovation was. By offering an engine that married performance with clean compliance, Honda forced the question Harley never wanted to face. What happens when the thing that defines you becomes the very thing regulators ban? The shock was not just technical, it was existential. This was not Honda chasing trends, it was Honda planting a flag. The company was telling riders, governments, and rivals alike that the future of two wheels had a new engine at its heart. And the message carried a chilling undertone for Harley. The future would not wait, and neither would Honda. And the real danger? It is aimed directly at Harley's strongest market: efficiency as a weapon. This engine is not just powerful, it is economical enough to change how riders budget their lives. Honda emphasized that the new power unit was designed for both performance and efficiency. Where Harley's traditional big twin engines are notorious for their appetite for fuel, Honda's new technology promises longer range on less energy, with fewer maintenance stops along the way. In plain terms, it means less money leaving a rider's pocket each month. For a generation squeezed by higher costs of living, that is more persuasive than chrome or nostalgia. The promise of reduced maintenance is another dagger. Fuel cell stacks contain fewer moving parts than combustion engines. That translates into fewer oil changes, fewer heat-related breakdowns, and a simplified ownership experience. Riders who once tolerated quirks as character may not feel the same loyalty when smoother, cheaper alternatives arrive. Add in the potential for government incentives for clean vehicles, and the economic tilt becomes undeniable. Harley can advertise heritage, but Honda can point to real numbers on household budgets. The market has seen this movie before. Automakers that failed to adapt to efficiency regulations lost share to rivals who moved early. Honda knows this. The company is using its new engine not simply as a product, but as a pressure point. It is telling riders that the smart choice is also the affordable one. But Honda did not stop with future tech. They are already winning today, one unassuming bike at a time. If this breakdown is giving you a new perspective on how Honda is reshaping the fight, hit like and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your take might be the one that sparks the next debate. The Rebel 500. Small bike, big threat. This machine does not roar. It simply removes excuses. The Honda Rebel 500 has become the quiet assassin in the cruiser world. At first glance, it looks modest. A 471 cubic centimeter parallel twin, a seat height just over 27 inches, and a curb weight a little above 400 pounds. But those numbers mask its real power. The Rebel makes riding accessible. It welcomes shorter riders, new riders, and those returning after years away. It turns intimidation into confidence. That inclusivity is what Harley has struggled to match. The Rebel 500 delivers steady, predictable torque, a clutch so light it feels effortless, and a gearbox that slides between gears with reassuring smoothness. Riders are not wrestling an untamed beast. They are guiding a cooperative companion that builds confidence instead of fear. With a starting price under $7,000, it undercuts heavyweight cruisers dramatically while still delivering Japanese build quality and modern reliability. Fuel economy averaging 60 miles per gallon stretches every tank, turning commutes and weekend rides into affordable pleasures. The Rebel proves joy on two wheels can be thrilling without demanding punishing expenses or compromises. Perhaps most importantly, the Rebel introduces people to the Honda ecosystem. It is not just a starter bike. For many, it becomes the forever bike, offering daily usability and weekend escapes. Every new rider that swings a leg over one as a rider Harley is unlikely to win back. And once you are in the door, Honda has a plan that climbs every rung of the ladder. If you're ready to embrace the future of riding, check out the affiliate link in the description for the latest in affordable, efficient, and tech-forward bikes and gear. The ladder versus the wall. Honda built a staircase for riders. Harley built a wall. From entry-level commuters to mid-weight performers and full-size touring machines, Honda has created a product ladder that grows with its customers. A young rider might begin with the approachable Rebel, move up to a Hornet Street Fighter for more speed, and eventually tour the country on a Goldwing. Each step is deliberate, each step is affordable, and each step deepens loyalty. That is not an accident, it is a strategy. Harley's lineup, by contrast, often demands that new riders leap into heavy, expensive machines with little middle ground. The gap between beginner and seasoned veteran is not bridged by products, but by culture and price. That wall keeps many potential customers out. Honda's staircase invites them in and walks them upward. The company knows that once riders commit to a brand across multiple stages of their life, switching becomes unlikely. Harley has brand mystique, but Honda has lifecycle design. The breadth of Honda's lineup also insulates it from regulatory shocks. Whether a city enforces noise limits, a state subsidizes clean tech, or global markets demand efficiency, Honda has a bike ready. It is not betting on one segment, it is investing in every rung. Harley may still command loyalty among diehards, but Honda is cultivating an ecosystem, and that ecosystem is designed to keep riders moving through life with the same badge on their tank. But money is not just made on bikes. It is lost or saved at the gas pump. The true cost of riding. You do not need to win a drag race if you have already won the monthly budget. That is the hidden weapon Honda is carrying into the cruiser wars. Most riders do not calculate torque curves when buying their first machine, but they do calculate payments, insurance premiums, and fuel costs. The sticker price is just the beginning. Harley's big twins demand not only higher initial purchase costs, but also higher upkeep, higher insurance categories, and higher depreciation. Honda's strategy is to chip away at each of these line items until the math becomes impossible to ignore. Consider the Rebel 500 again, a machine that quietly undermines Harley's pricing power. With a sticker under $7,000, it sells for almost half the cost of many heavyweight cruisers. Insurance premiums are lower as well, since mid-displacement bikes typically fall into safer categories, saving riders hundreds of dollars each year. Add fuel economy topping 60 miles per gallon, and every tank stretches further than expected. Even resale values tip toward Honda, as second-hand buyers trust Japanese durability. These are not minor details. Together, they add up to thousands of dollars saved during a realistic 5-year ownership cycle. When economists look at shifting consumer behavior, they often point to total cost of ownership. That calculation is where Honda wins decisively. A Harley may look iconic in the showroom, but Honda owns the spreadsheet. And when cities start rewriting the rules, Honda's advantage only grows. The city decides who rides. Noise and smoke do not win votes, they get banned. Around the world, municipalities are tightening regulations on emissions and decibel levels. Harley-Davidson's trademark exhaust note, once celebrated, has become a liability in dense urban centers. Riders face citations, restricted access, or outright bans from certain neighborhoods. For younger consumers raised in cities, The image of a Harley is not freedom. It is a ticket waiting to happen. Honda, with quieter and cleaner engines, arrives as the compliant alternative. European capitals already ban older combustion bikes from entering their historic city centers. Across Asia, megacities are eliminating smoky two-stroke engines and high-noise models. Even in the United States, local governments are testing strict noise ordinances and launching experimental zero-emission zones. These measures may appear minor at first glance, but they reshape rider psychology in powerful ways. After all, if your motorcycle cannot take you where you need to go, what value does it truly hold? Honda anticipated this global shift. Its fuel cell technology not only clears these hurdles, but positions the company as an ally in urban mobility. Harley sells nostalgia for open highways, but most riders face traffic lights and city blocks. Practicality matters. A bike that can slip into emission zones without issue is more valuable than one that announces itself with thunder. The shift is underway, but Honda's engine is not just built for the street, it is built for space. Space tech on two wheels. The same power system NASA would trust is now aimed at your garage. Honda's fuel cell and electrolysis research did not start in motorcycling. It began in aerospace and advanced mobility projects. By adapting a system tested in extreme environments, Honda gained instant credibility. If a technology can survive vacuum chambers and orbital stress simulations, it can certainly survive a morning commute. That kind of pedigree matters. Riders may not understand every chemical reaction inside a fuel stack, but they understand prestige. This is the moment Honda's announcement pivots from engineering into storytelling. For decades, Harley has leaned heavily on Americana, the myth of Route 66, and the thunder of Milwaukee steel. That narrative once defined motorcycling, but Honda offers a strikingly different counter: space-grade credibility. Imagine telling a rider that the same propulsion principles used to guide satellites and orbital craft could also power their weekend escape into the mountains. It reframes the entire conversation. Instead of presenting a machine chained to nostalgia and the past, Honda delivers one aligned with exploration, progress, and humanity's next frontier of technological ambition. And the specs back it up. High energy density, rapid refueling capability, and scalability for different frame sizes make the engine more than a concept. It is a platform. It suggests that the rider is not just part of a biking culture, but part of a technological movement. That message carries weight with a generation fascinated by innovation rather than heritage. Impressive, yes. But Honda's real trick is how they turn test rides into conversions. The Rebel's secret weapon, customization. Harley sold identity. Honda made it affordable. For decades, the Harley brand thrived on the idea that owning one of its machines meant joining a tribe. Leather jackets, patches, and weekend rallies reinforced the culture. The problem is that this identity became expensive, exclusive, and increasingly dated. Honda's Rebel 500, by contrast, offers riders a blank canvas. With a vast aftermarket of saddlebags, bobber kits, windscreens, and exhausts, the bike transforms easily to reflect personal taste. This flexibility is powerful because it transforms a single motorcycle into countless identities. A new rider can start with the affordable base model and then shape it gradually, adding parts as budget and taste allow. One owner may strip it down into a lean bobber, another may fit bags and a windscreen for light touring, while someone else may configure it into a dependable commuter. All of these versions share the same reliable chassis and predictable engine, yet each feels personal. That is the secret of the Rebel. Honda creates belonging not by closing doors, but by opening them. The aftermarket economy also creates stickiness. A rider who invests in accessories, who spends weekends tweaking their machine, is less likely to abandon the brand. Honda understands that identity does not have to come from marketing campaigns. It can grow organically from garages and side streets. That is why the Rebel is not just a product, it is a platform for personality. And if you think that is clever, wait until Honda strikes where Harley hesitated most. The Street Fighter gap. Where Harley blinked, Honda punched. Riders had been waiting for Harley-Davidson to deliver a true Street Fighter, something raw, fast, and stripped of excess. The Bronx project was teased, hyped, and then quietly shelved. For enthusiasts, it was like waiting for a train that never arrived. Into that silence stepped Honda with the Hornet 750 and its bigger brother, the CB 1000 Hornet SP. Both bikes deliver sharp handling, aggressive design, and the kind of instant torque that city riders crave. Honda's Hornet 750 offers 91 horsepower and real-world usability, while the CB 1000 SP ramps up the aggression with a 1,000 cubic centimeter inline-4. These are not concept sketches. They are showroom-ready, priced competitively, and tuned for younger riders who want speed without intimidation. The gap Harley left open became Honda's highway to dominance. What makes this sting for Harley is that the Street Fighter market is not fringe. It is mainstream. Urban commuters and weekend canyon riders alike seek machines that combine agility with affordability. Honda delivered on both fronts while Harley clung to its heavyweight image. The Bronx could have been Harley's bridge to a new generation. Instead, it became Honda's victory lap. And the tourer Harley riders dread? Honda just made it effortless. Touring without punishment. Comfort does not need to weigh 1,000 pounds. That lesson is embodied in the Honda NT 1100 DCT. For decades, touring bikes carried reputations for bulk and complexity. Harley leaned into that identity, offering chrome-laden machines that demanded strength just to maneuver. Honda decided riders deserved better. The NT 1100 proves that long-distance comfort can come in a lighter, smarter package. With just over 1,000 cubic centimeters of displacement paired with a dual-clutch transmission, the Honda NT 1100 is built for modern travel. Riders can slip through heavy traffic in effortless automatic mode or take precise control with paddle shifters when the road opens up. Its wet weight comes in more than 400 pounds lighter than many full-size Harleys, yet the bike still delivers remarkable stability, excellent wind protection, and practical range for cross-country journeys. In short, it offers all the comfort and long-distance ability of a heavyweight tourer without the exhausting punishment of wrestling a massive frame. The psychology is powerful. Riders who once dreaded city commutes on heavy machines now find themselves considering the NT as a daily option. It reframes what touring means, shifting from burden to liberation. That shift undercuts Harley's long-standing dominance of the category. And while the NT proves touring can be light, Honda's next move shows how to make it regal. But when Honda builds a throne, it does not just compete, it dominates. Silence at speed. The Gold Wing. There is luxury. And then there is turbine smoothness. The Honda Gold Wing. 50th Anniversary Edition is not just a touring bike, it is a statement of mastery. Powered by an 1,800 cubic centimeter flat six, the Gold Wing produces over 120 horsepower, with a refinement unmatched in the segment. What sets it apart is not raw numbers, but the sensation. The flat six layout cancels vibration, delivering an experience more like a jet turbine than a motorcycle. This model is a throne on wheels. Wide seats cradle rider and passenger alike. Heated grips and seats ensure comfort in all seasons. And a 7-inch display integrates navigation, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. The bike glides through miles with an elegance that heavy cruisers cannot replicate. Every detail reinforces prestige, from the double wishbone suspension that smooths rough roads to the integrated luggage that swallows gear without breaking the silhouette. For Harley, this is devastating. Their touring flagships rely on heritage and bulk to command presence. The Gold Wing achieves dominance through refinement. Riders who once swore loyalty to heavyweight V-twins find themselves converted by silence, smoothness, and sophistication. If Honda owns the entry, the middle, and the halo, what is left to fight over? Chrome versus competence. If your brand story is louder than your product, you are on borrowed time. Harley has long sold nostalgia, chrome finishes, retro paint, and the roar of Milwaukee steel. That story resonated for generations, but as regulations tighten and consumer tastes shift, story without substance feels hollow. Honda's counter-narrative is simple: competence over noise. Every machine is engineered to deliver reliability, efficiency, and versatility. The cultural clash is clear. Harley advertises the open road as a timeless symbol, yet its bikes often struggle in urban realities. Honda rarely romanticizes its products in advertising. Instead, it lets performance, value, and breadth of choice speak for themselves. Riders notice. For many, the idea of belonging to a Harley tribe has been replaced by the idea of belonging to a Honda solution: practical, adaptable, and forward-facing. The deeper issue is identity. Harley built exclusivity. Honda builds inclusivity. One strategy narrows the tent, the other expands it. As generations change, exclusivity risks shrinking relevance. Honda's competence-first approach, backed by technology and affordability, looks increasingly like the winning formula. Brand myths can last decades, but eventually reality intrudes, and Honda's reality is forcing a reckoning. But culture does not just live in ads, it lives on the factory floor. When rivals regroup, when Honda moves the goalposts, everyone else pays for new turf. The unveiling of a fuel cell engine and the success of models like the Rebel have not only rattled Harley, but also forced every other motorcycle manufacturer to reassess strategy. Kawasaki, Yamaha, Suzuki, and even European giants like BMW are scrambling to respond. Pricing strategies are being recalibrated, and development budgets are shifting rapidly toward hydrogen and electric solutions. What once looked like a gradual transition now feels like a sprint to catch up. Kawasaki recently announced its own hybrid prototypes, blending combustion with electric assistance. Yamaha is deepening partnerships with battery suppliers. BMW has doubled down on electrified scooters for urban markets. Each move signals recognition that Honda has seized the initiative. The challenge for these rivals is scale. Few can match Honda's global footprint, its financial war chest, or its decades of research into alternative fuels. Every pivot looks reactive, not proactive. The result is a fractured battlefield. Instead of competing head-to-head with Harley for cruiser dominance, manufacturers are being pulled into Honda's orbit of innovation. They cannot afford to ignore the shift, but following Honda's lead puts them perpetually one step behind. The industry is realigning around Honda's pace. But the biggest lever is not competition, it is regulation. If you've followed this story to the end, you already know Honda versus Harley is bigger than motorcycles. Subscribe now, because the next chapter is coming fast, and you won't want to be the one who misses it. The new compliance tax. The next rebate will not be for chrome, it will be for quiet miles. Governments across the globe are using policy as a crowbar to accelerate change. Subsidies once aimed at electric cars are beginning to trickle toward two-wheelers. Tariffs on high-emission imports are tightening. In Europe, entire cities are rolling out tax incentives for zero-emission motorcycles, while Asia pushes shared charging and hydrogen networks. In the United States, debates in Congress revolve around extending clean energy credits to motorcycles, a move that would immediately tilt the playing field. This is not just regulation, it is a compliance tax. Brands that refuse to adapt will pay in lost access, higher duties, and shrinking subsidies. Harley-Davidson, with its portfolio rooted in combustion, faces the prospect of penalties that make already expensive bikes even harder to justify. Honda, on the other hand, positions itself to capture incentive dollars, export advantages, and goodwill from regulators eager to showcase cooperation. Policy shifts also ripple into trade agreements. Nations that adopt hydrogen infrastructure look for suppliers who can deliver compatible technology. Honda's early investments make it a preferred partner, while Harley risks being treated as a laggard. In a global economy, being late to compliance is not just a branding issue, It is a survival issue. And on the shop floor, workers are already choosing sides. Workers and riders redrawn. A welcoming bike grows a movement. An intimidating one guards a museum. That truth is shaping both the workforce and the customer base. On the factory floor, labor is being reskilled. Honda's push into fuel cell technology requires technicians trained in electrochemistry, software integration, and energy management. Training programs expand opportunities for younger workers who see a future in clean mobility. Harley's plants, by contrast, struggle with layoffs and a shrinking pipeline of skilled employees. The message is clear. The jobs of tomorrow follow the technology of tomorrow. Among riders, the demographic shift is just as dramatic. Younger consumers view motorcycles less as symbols of rebellion and more as practical tools for mobility and expression. A mid-weight Honda with customization options appeals to women, urban commuters, and first-time owners who might never have considered a Harley. The inclusivity multiplies the community, creating broader clubs, more diverse rallies, and online spaces that reflect the modern rider. Cultural gravity is shifting. Harley rallies once defined motorcycling as male, loud, and exclusive. Honda's expanding base defines it as diverse, accessible, and adaptable. That difference reshapes the entire culture of motorcycling. Riders are voting with their wallets and with their presence in communities. And that leaves the final question. What does it mean for your wallet? The future in your garage. Your next bike is a vote for the roads you will still be allowed to ride. The decision between a traditional heavyweight cruiser and a future-proof Honda is no longer just about style. It is about regulation, insurance, and long-term ownership costs. A Harley purchased today may face resale headwinds as emission restrictions spread. A Honda with a fuel cell engine or efficient parallel twin is not only cheaper to run, but also more likely to retain value when rules tighten. Affordability becomes more than monthly payments. It becomes insurance categories, access to city centers, and the likelihood that your bike will be banned from certain zones. Consumers who once thought in terms of horsepower now think in terms of future compliance. Buying the wrong bike is not just a lifestyle risk, it is a financial liability. Honda's lineup offers resilience, a hedge against uncertainty, while Harley offers a gamble on nostalgia. The rider's garage is becoming a referendum. Each purchase reflects a choice about what kind of mobility will dominate the next decade. The truth is that Honda has already built the staircase, while Harley has built a wall. And because the industry, the regulators, and the workers have all begun to move, the tipping point is here. Because the battle for Harley's soul is already in motion, and the riders will decide. And that's where we leave it. But the story doesn't stop here. Honda has fired the shot, Harley is reeling, and the entire industry is shifting under our feet. If this breakdown opened your eyes, hit like and share it with another rider who needs to see what's coming. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all, and your perspective drives the next discussion. Most importantly, subscribe now, because the next chapter in this fight is already unfolding, and you cannot afford to miss it.